Hi, welcome to Vlogentines number 14 and happy Valentine's Day. My name is Donna from In a Pickle Knitting, and I'm here today with some Valentine crafts and a Valentine's children's book. Let's get started. Today our children's book is on Kindle. It is available as a board book, possibly even just as a paperback book, but I don't have it that way, so I'm going to show it to you on Kindle. And oh gosh, there we go. This book is called Valentine's Day Treats, recipe included, by Tara Knutson, illustrated by Pauline Stewart. And this is a book told entirely in rhyme, and I'd love to just read the entire thing to you, but it's a story about these little raccoons, and it's Valentine's Day and all of the things that they are doing for Valentine's. There we go. So it's in rhyme, and first they're making some cards, and of course that's in rhyme, and she's giving them more ideas about their cards. Mom is. Now they're going to make a cake, and so they go through all of the steps of making the cake. They don't give you recipe amounts or anything, but they go through every step baking it, and they're baking one square and one round, and then telling them how to turn the square on its side, cut the circle in half, and then defrost it, and it will come out to be a heart. So they decorate their cake, and they go off to friend's house to celebrate Valentine's Day together. And at the end there is a little recipe. It's not for the cake. I don't know if the paper version might have the recipe on a page that wasn't represented here or not. I don't know, but that was not, it was not given. It was instead a recipe with marshmallows, so I think it was like a Rice Krispie treat that you cut into the shape of a heart, which is, you know, a great treat too, but the book story was about the cake. So that's our last children's literature book that I have for you. Of course, there are many others out there that are available. I'm sure if you can't find any of these, you can find something. On to the crafts. Well, you cannot have Valentine's Day without Valentine's cards. So I'd like to share some cards with you today. Some are in a less than finished state, and that is due to me not having all of my materials here. I did give most of my scrapbooking and card making tools and things to my daughter, thinking, well, I can always go over there and we can work together to make things, but I find myself missing things. I have a few things still here, but I'm missing things that, oh, I have that color ink, but it's at her house. I have that sentiment that I want, but it's at her house. So these are less than complete, but that's okay. You can still get certainly the idea. I will start though with one that I always gave my students while I was teaching third grade. So I would have instead of giving just a Valentine or candy, I always gave this same card. Now this version that I'm showing you looks different than the one that I gave them. I used to have on my computer a program called Print Shop, and from Print Shop I would make all kinds, I think it was called, no, it was Print Master. There is a Print Shop. This was Print Master that I had, and Print Master Deluxe, and I did a lot of my school things on that, including a card, because it would lay it out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with 4 parts, so you could put what you wanted to be the cover and the inside, and then it would print it out. You could fold it up. So that's how I always did it. And I don't have that anymore because I don't have that computer anymore. So instead I made just a 8.5 by 11 sheet that you fold in half, and I actually had to print out 2 sheets and tape them together. But anyway, here is the idea. I always had pictures of cardinals on the front. If I had a picture on my computer of cardinals from my yard, I used it. And I tried to do that today, but my picture was, by the time I stretched it out, it was a little blurry, so it didn't look all that good. And inside is a poem, and this poem I just love. It says, I gave 100 Valentines. 100 did I say? I gave 1,000 Valentines one cold and wintry day. I didn't put my name on them or any other words, because my Valentines were seeds for February birds. And this was written by Eileen Fisher. And then I would include a little bag of what I always gave was black oil sunflower seeds, folded up and stapled with a label on it, I would stick a label on it myself that said not for human consumption, and then I always told the students that these were not for human consumption, they were for the birds, and not to scatter them out until they asked their parents what a good spot was, because I didn't want anybody to do something the parents wouldn't want. But I don't have black oil sunflower seeds. Instead, I buy these seeds that are already shelled, and they are coated with hot pepper. That keeps the squirrels away from them, because my birds get nothing if the squirrels see black oil sunflower seeds, or even safflower seeds, which they're not supposed to like. And the ones at my other house didn't, but these will eat them. So I buy these, and the benefit also of these is that bluebirds, they don't eat seeds that have shells on them. So if the shell's on a sunflower seed, they're not going to eat it because they can't crack the seed. Their mouths are intended for berries and insects. So they will eat these, and so I get bluebirds at my feeder along with lots and lots of other birds that just love this. So I would usually give a smaller bag and staple it to the card, but I'm going to give it this way, and I'm going to give it to my grandson so that he can put them in a little feeder that he made, and he knows not to eat these because he fills our feeders all the time when he's here. So that's my first card. This was one I did for at least 15 years, and it was always well received. So my next card is one that I saw on Pinterest, and this is my take on it because I didn't have every material that this was needed for this card. So I used what I had, which is, I'm very much at that place trying really hard to limit how many times I go to the store, making a good list, and then if I don't have something, because my mind changes a lot or I get inspired to do something else, I'm trying to make do without. So this card, I did that. I made do without, but I did have the one important thing, and that was a die cutter to make a little jar. And the card that I saw had that too, but again, I didn't have my Valentine sentiments here, so I put a different one that is actually one of my life mottos. But it's just a jar dumping hearts out, and so I used whatever different kinds I had. I cut a lot out of paper, out of scrapbooking paper. I had a jeweled one that was sticky on the back. I had a foil one and a glitter one. This is a foamy sticker from something else, and this is a button. So my sentiment is, one of the secrets of a happy life is continuous small treats. So this is my idea of continuous small treats. So inside you can put your own sentiment or stamp something, or now you can get these stickers that are for sentiments. I think they're for sentiments. I think they're also for people who keep those fancy calendars, schedule calendars. But I saw a lot that would be good to take off and put as a sentiment inside. It might work better than rubber stamps, just because unless you're just excellent at it, they can be hard to get perfect. I stamped this one about 7 times before I got it right. I tried a bunch on paper and then ruined one card and got it on this one. So rubber stamps, and I love them. I love them. I had hundreds and hundreds of them at my daughter's house now, but they are tough to work with. So that's my next card, and this was inspired from a card on Pinterest. The next card I have is going to be showing you a heart that I knit, and have already shown you this. This card's not quite complete because I would like to put a sentiment on it. I do have one little Happy Valentine's Day stamp, but I want magenta ink, and I don't have that ink at my house. But that is this, to put the knitted heart inside of an opening so it pokes through the card. And this can have a pin back on it. That's my idea, but I just taped it down for now. So you would punch some holes in the back of your card and put the pin back through there, and your gift could be part of the card. So a little Happy Valentine's and a note at the bottom inside. But it doesn't have to be this knit heart. This is the one that I knit out of the yarn that I'm knitting my socks from. It could also be a crocheted heart. So I want to show you some crocheted hearts that I made. I made 2 different kinds. The first kind is a spiral heart, or some people call it a rose heart. I did 2 different versions of this from 2 different YouTube videos, and this is a different kind. So you'll notice the spiral's a little bit different. What I like about this one, and I'm going to put the YouTube name up here, but also, well, I'll try to remember to put it in the down bar too. This one is done continuously. So you start and you go around and around and around, and when you're done, you just cut your yarn and weave it in because it's all attached in the back. So that's nice for finishing. This one is done from this is done from a magic circle, crochet magic circle, which for me always means get out the YouTube and find one of those tutorials that works to show me, because I don't crochet or do that enough to really know how to do it very well. And it looks like the most simple thing in the world, and it confounds me every time. This one is done from a foundation chain, and that's easy because you can just, you know, chain however many she says to. But then at the end, you've got a long spiral that you gather up and you have to stitch from the background. So that can be hard maybe to get it quite. And I'll give you the name of this one also. They're both good tutorials. What I loved about this one was there was no talking at all. That's not what I loved about it, but there was no talking. A screen would come up and tell you what stitches you were going to be doing next. Like, let's say it was 2 double crochets at each of the next 3 stitches. So I knew that's what was coming, but then the person did it and did every single stitch with you. So if you needed to see that, you could see it over and over. And I liked seeing what the stitch was. This one, every single stitch, well, pretty much at the beginning she says to do something, and then she doesn't show you doing it over and over again, but she shows doing it, so you'd see how to do it, and you just would continue around, and then she comes to the next round. There is talking in this one, but the part that made it hard for me on this one was that she's telling you every stitch, you know, wrap the yarn how many times, pull through, pull through, pull through. But and rounds 1 through 3 I had no problem. It was round 4 that there are some different kinds of stitches. They're double, treble crochets, or half double crochets, or maybe both. And then every once in a while, so you might think, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm wrapping it 3 times. I know what to do when I wrap it 3 times. I don't need to listen to her say the rest. But there are 2 times where that stitch is a half one of those, so it is different at the very end of it. So that confused me, and she never said what the stitch was. But you can follow every single stitch. I just got mixed up in the last round a couple of times. So I sat and watched it, and watched every single thing she did and wrote down. I didn't know the names of the stitches because she didn't say. So I made it my own little thing, because I knew one was a treble crochet, and I knew a double crochet. In fact, she tells you double crochet. But the rest, she didn't say what they were. So I wrote it all down, so now I know how to do it. So anyway, you could do the same thing. You could do this little crocheted heart in a card and have that be a pin, or just have it stuck in the card. Either kind. And then there's a flat heart that's crochet, and this was a lovely tutorial. This was the perfect blend. She talked and said what she was doing. She said the name of the stitch, and she showed you how to do it every single time. And it was just really good. So I'm going to put that name here too. I made 2 of these. I made a little boo-boo, I think, on this one, but actually it turned out not looking too bad. Maybe it was this one I made a mistake. You were supposed to make sure you weren't going into the last of a chain stitch, and you were actually in the stitch, and I messed that up, or somehow messed that up. But it still turned out okay. And these are really cute. And so that could be just a decoration in here, or you could put a pin back on it. So I think that's kind of nice when you can make a card that has a little something that you can take off and use. And another thing you could do, and this is something a child of a certain age could do, they make heart-shaped plastic canvas, and I just stitched yarn through here. I used worsted weight, and you can see some of the plastic canvas. So I think maybe an Aran weight would have been a better choice on this, but I have a smaller tapestry needle than I normally would use for worsted weight yarn, and it's the only needle that would go through that was big enough to get yarn through. So getting Aran weight into that one could be a little bit dicey. But these also can be made into pins or refrigerator magnets, which of course these could be refrigerator magnets too. You just glue the magnet on the back and then somehow find a way to attach it to the card. So there's some different hearts that you could put in a card like that. And this one is a purchased card. I'm showing it to you because if I could quill, I would have made it. But I have tried quilling before and I can't do it. My fingers just can't do it. But I found this one for sale. And so that is lovely. And all it says on the front is, I love you, which is beautiful. So there's another idea. If you could quill, you could make a quilled heart and put on that exact same card idea if you liked that idea. Or I made another one of these pins. The one I showed you the other day was in pink, and this one is in red. So this could go in the center of that very same card. So we're just going to rip that off the tape and show you. So there's lots and lots of ideas to do with these. I drop stuff every day. To do with these little things. So on continuing with cards, I also made this card. And I'm going to, because I did not bring the pattern upstairs, I'm going to put the name of the designer here. I did purchase this pattern, a cross stitch pattern, on Etsy from whoever I'm writing down here. And it was an instant download, so I was able to print off the PDF chart. The good things about this chart is there's one that's in black and white and there's one that's in color, and I like the color ones, and it was a big chart, so that helped me tremendously. And there wasn't anything I didn't like about it, except I did have to go out and get one color of floss because I didn't know what color it was. I have a DMC color card, but it's 20 years old, and it doesn't have the new color, so I didn't know what the color was. It said something gray, but I thought, well, I'll get what they're saying to use. So I did, and something else would have worked that I already have. Okay, this is it's called envelope, hearts, envelope, and hearts in envelope. I think maybe hearts in envelope. So I stitched it on linen over 2. It was a 32 count linen, and I stitched it over 2. Hopefully that's coming in okay for you there. And the colors of the hearts are all a coral sort of a color. She says right in the pattern, you could change that and make them rainbow colored hearts. You could, like each one a different color of the rainbow. You could pick a different color palette, pinks and reds instead, or just about anything for that card. So that, the hearts. But I just did, again, what she had suggested. So at the top, I attached one of my little sentiments that says, know in your heart you are loved. And I took I used my Spellbinder, this set of Spellbinder die cuts, and I cut a small one to make the hole in this peach colored, and also to make a thin piece, to cut a thin piece of fusible fiber fill batting. It's a really thin kind, so it's behind here, and it fits in this hole because I cut the hole and the batting out of the same die cut, and I ironed it to the back of my cross stitch while it was on a tea towel upside down so that it didn't flatten my stitches at all. So I didn't stitch it all on the front. And then I'll open this up and show you. That's sandwiched in between a front and back here. The back did not have the hole in it, and then I stitched around the edge just so that it was finished inside. This could be taken out and framed. It could be this part right here could be framed. So your sentiment could be written right down here underneath here. And this also could have, you know, some little pearl beads glued on there just to liven it up, or it would be cute if you had this color, one of these colors, or the progression of colors in different color hearts down here. All kinds of things could liven it up a little bit, but again, this is partially finished, almost there. So the die cuts helped with that a lot. And then I want to show you some cards that my grandson made. I'm going to show you first a picture, and this was a card that he made for his dog. His little dog's name is Minnie, and that's why on the inside of the card you see a picture of him taking Minnie for a walk. So that was entirely, just all his idea of what he wanted to do on that card, just presented with a bunch of stuff on the table that could be used. And then here is another. He made two like this, one for me and one for my husband. And he did use the paper cutter, but he stuck the paper and it was crooked, but my daughter, let it go, and that's a good idea. And inside it said, he has put a picture of me and him and some hearts over our heads and rubber stamped, and then this is embossing glitter that he glued on, and more stamps to name. So he made one very much like it for my husband. So this is priceless, and to let him do what he wanted to do on his card is absolutely the best choice. Just put out what you've got and let them decide what to do. It's always nice to have a few models around too, just to help inspire them. Now I want to make sure I got everything from over here in the way of cards, and I do. And I have another craft which is not quite complete, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. We have ice today. We had a freezing rain, and it's built up a lot, so I was not going to go out to look for it. And because I've been looking for a frame for this, and I haven't found one. So I had planned, well, I'll go out today and do it, but with the ice I wasn't. So what I have on here are buttons. This is a board that's hard, but it has that canvas stuff over it that you find on painting canvases, but this is hard. And I wanted it to be hard because I was going to be gluing on it. And it has a wooden frame on the inside. I'll show you that, like that. Okay? It's called a gesso board, and this is 8 by 8 inches. I painted the top of it. I also painted around the sides, but I wasn't real careful around the sides because that's not going to show in my frame. If it does, I'll have to paint that. And I had 2 canisters of buttons, a pink one and a red one, and this is what's left over from doing that frame. So if you had a couple of children that you wanted to let them make a project like this with a little help, those kind of buttons would do at least 2, I think 3. I did add some buttons from my button box onto this. This one right here is a ceramic button, and the color-wise it doesn't go quite as well, but this is from a jumper that I'd made for my daughter many, many years ago. And this is a button off of, uh-oh, that's going to come off. See, I hot glued it, but I didn't think hot glue was a good idea. But I'm going to get it to stick on there with something else later. I want to investigate what will work best. That was off of a little dress. And then I have these little glittery ones. So this is just a heart made of buttons. And all I did was paint this so children can paint their own. And then I took my trusty cookie cutter, laid it down, and put a very light pencil line. And that was just to get me the idea of getting it centered and getting the shape on there. And then I would suggest using all large buttons around the base. I used mostly large, but I think I would have been better to use all large. And then just put them on. Now, I used hot glue. So for children, that may not be the greatest idea, but there may be some other kinds of glue that you would let them use, or let them arrange a layer and then you hot glue them on, let them arrange another layer and you hot glue them on, that sort of thing. So I like this. I think in a frame, sitting on an easel would be a nice little decoration, and I would like to put a sentiment on there about "You are the key to my heart." So that's why I had this little key. It's a Tim Holtz key for scrapbooking, and oh, there, it's pretty sure off, so I will take it off and let you see. So I thought I wanted to use that key, and that's what I came up with. Well, I actually came up with something else that didn't work. And maybe someday I'll tell you about what didn't work and why it didn't work and why it might work in the future. So I also want to show you a picture of something. This is my Valentine tree. I've been decorating a tree with a lot of the things that I've made, the knitted hearts, those felted hearts. And I also have been making these hearts. These are needle felted hearts. So I'm using that raw wool. And these, obviously, I wasn't going to put there because they were different colors, but I wanted to practice. I did it the cheater's way, or the amateur's way, the beginner's way, and I used a little heart cookie cutter. I'm finding cookie cutters very handy recently, and that's what I use to do the needle felting. So if I can find that segment on my camera, I will try to put it at the end of me just needle felting these little hearts. And what I did with the ones that were more the colors that I wanted was I strung them with a long strip of embroidery floss, just all the 6 strands together, and spaced them out about 6 inches and used it as a bunting around my little Valentine tree. So I'll show a little clip here of the Valentine tree. It's hard to get, with the lights on it, it's hard to get good pictures or video. So I may have to turn them off, but just know that it actually is lit and looks a lot nicer lit. Just a couple of ending up things. I've had several people comment on my nails when I was wearing these nails, so I thought I'd just tell you what they were. They are red aspen nail dashes, and it's manicure in a dash. This was called X's and, well, I think it's supposed to be X's and O's, but I don't know what this is supposed to be. Ask me. I don't know what that is about. But they are glue-on nails, and I have not had a manicure or a pedicure since last year, February 27th. I've been doing it myself, my daughter the same, and she found these, and I really just bought them because she has a little deal going where if I buy, clicking on her link, she gets like a discount on the next ones that she buys. So she's changing hers all the time. And we also, well, let me show you a couple of others. I did order these that were petite. And I thought, oh dear, I didn't know I ordered petite. They came and I said petite. I thought, oh, those are for children. But you know what? They actually are, they fit the best, surprisingly. And then, you know, I have this one, and they have a new Valentine's one out. I don't know why they waited. It's like white or pink or something with little hearts all over it, which would have been really nice. But we were also using this product, which I actually really liked. It's called Color Street, and in it, these are little nail things that you peel it off and put it on, so it's fingernail polish, and it really lasts for a long time. I put a little bit of clear polish over the tip, and that stuff stays on, especially on your toes. It lasts for a while. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. And I had lots of questions about my special glasses that I'm going to try on for you. Okay, so that you can see. Oh, this one is, I actually have 2 sets. I bought 2. After I got the first one, I liked it so much, I thought, I can't live without this. So I want to be sure in case they ever stop making it that I have one. But here is the brand. I purchased, let me see if I do this, I can get it to focus better. Always moves. Well, I can't spell it unless I put my glasses on. YOCTOSUN. They were about $20 on Amazon, and then they come with this little box that has the different amounts of correction, and this is 3.5, which is the most, and it's the one that I need. It also came with a strap. I haven't even tried the strap, just using it like glasses has worked fine for me. It came with a little lens cleaner and 3 AAA batteries. So these have really helped me. And also just with some of my knitting, I don't need it for all knitting, but for some of my knitting I use it. And I want to be sure I don't forget anything. Okay, at the end I'm going to go through and check off things that I've shown you and make sure that everything's been shown, and maybe just pictures at the end, and also all the books. So I just laid them out on my coffee table and went around and took a little video. So that's the only thing that won't be on there, is this one, Valentine's Day Treats, today's book, because it's a Kindle book and I didn't get that in the picture or the video. So I'm looking around, I forget something every day. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate those of you who come and join me every day and left nice comments and left likes for the videos. That's been really sweet and encouraging for me. I'd keep doing it, but if you could see what I see here, this craft room has gone to, oh boy, it's a wreck. I need serious cleaning in here because I've been working on stuff all the time and not taking the time to put things away because I needed it ready. So I have to do that tomorrow. That's what I'm going to be doing, is cleaning up this craft room. So I do have to get that done and maybe take a breather here, but I have really enjoyed it, and I am so happy if you have joined me every day. I'm so happy if you've joined me one day. I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.